Twitter is not working currently, so we will be YouTube only. So I just sent out a tweet. I love this. There's nothing I love more. I click to go live. Everything is great. And then I look up and I see Twitter isn't working. Like I can see exclamation points near it. But I got an error message before I logged in, so I guess I'm the dope. There's a bug with Twitter with us right now. So just so you know.
Whatever. That's all right. We can always reshare it after the fact and people can watch it. So
yeah, so I'm gonna keep trying, and if it randomly cuts in. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna give up on this before I get annoyed. Hey, I got a question for you.
Yep.
Have you seen the message boards? Are they awfully quiet this week? Because I haven't heard anything.
I honestly didn't even look, to be honest.
Like
I stayed away this week.
Like like the message. The groups, right? We know the groups of people that are loud.
Yeah.
Right. They lose. Mike, I can't talk about that. I don't do that. I can't. He knows. Fine, I'll do this. For quick aside, Matt, there's a new AD. Hopefully they focus on lacrosse. That's my promo for the AD. Yep. Mike, that's all you're getting because you texted me the other day and said Matt's your favorite.
Oh, that's my biggest fan in the Matt fan
club? That's your biggest fan.
Let's go, Mike.
So the message boards, people are always loud. Everything.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm not gonna acknowledge you anymore. Because
we've talked about this before, right? Though, like they're happy to come out in droves when things don't go right, but then like when things go well, it's like crickets. So it's
you see the real fans when they win. I hate to say it that way. I don't want to criticize fans, right? Because like everybody's great, blah 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 blah, all that fun crap. We do it enough. So
good dub on Saturday, huh?
Good dub, and we titled it Back to SU because like I sent you the picture of the title that I wanted to go with because ChatGPT is great sometimes.
And sometimes they're terrible.
And also it's terrible because it
was like a 30-word sentence as a title.
I'll give a behind the scenes look. It's a lot of fun trying to type into ChatGPT for a person who's terrible with titles. Talk about Syracuse's win 12-8 and then preview cards and then preview
it was like 87 words long.
I mean, like, it's great. Like, and then I was like, that's why I texted you and I was like, there's gotta be something better than like it's great, right? The Maryland game, that was a ChatGPT. I can spoil that for people. I don't really care. 90% of these titles are not mine. Matt gets all the credit and all the blame.
Well, I thought this was a perfect title, right? Because that was one of the things that was talked about a lot on the broadcast, right?
Yeah.
When they talked to Gary this week leading up to the game, it was we want to get back to Syracuse lacrosse. We want to play our game. We want to get up in transition. We want to play aggressive. Like they were able to do some of those things. So I was like, all right, well, if Dan needs a title, I think that's a perfect opportunity for the title. So
well, and look, like I mean, we can do this because I think 30-ish. We have 30-ish, right? 30-ish minutes ish. Give or take
about half hour.
Pole goals, Johnny. There's your story, and Jimmy gets an assist.
Yep,
that's it. I hate to do that, but that's like, that's what I want, right? Like that's my perfect. Obviously, I want to blow out Hopkins. Shout out Tim for the band song that I made Matt listen to after we got off the air last time. I'm shocked he's not here. Oh, that's right. He's a Hopkins fan, so he's awfully quiet. I haven't heard from Tim. Yes, Tim, when you listen to this, I'm sure I'll get a message, but that's kind of funny.
This was a good get right game for several people. Like Johnny got back into his groove. Joey put up 7 points. So there's some people that you could say hadn't been playing up to their expectations or potential or whatever you want to call it, and kind of got back into that, right? So that was good to see. Mullen went 55%, 11 out of 20, which is good. You want to make sure he's up over 50%, somewhere in the 55 to 65 range. That's ideally where you want him, right? And the thing that I thought was interesting was there was a good, because I went and rewatched it, of course, and there was a good mix of 50-50 wins where him and the Hopkins face-off guys were combating for it, but then there were a handful in there where he pinched it to him, popped it to himself, and just won it, right? It was see a mix of those. And I mean, there was even a couple where it went to a wing and the wing missed it, so he could have even won maybe a couple more. So but I was he in particular was one of the ones that I was happy to see kind of get back on track with his where he could be. And I don't think he had any jumps that I remember watching. There was one where I think they called a hold, but other than that, he didn't have any jumps, I don't think. So
I'll let you read the YouTube comment because I'm not acknowledging him and he's a fan of yours, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean he's right. He's right. I don't want to say that because he's going to.
Well, exactly what they were saying in the broadcast, right? If we can get up and move, move in transition and push transition, then we're a threat to anybody, right? It also, when you push in transition, it also helps break up the clearing issues, right? Because if you just get up and go, then you made the clear, right? Because you're not getting a chance for a team to settle into their ride or whatever else it is,
Right.
I was happy that the throwback helmets weren't a curse, so shout out to that, because we were joking about that last week.
Nope, I'm not going to give credit to that because this one time out of 15 that it actually works and they actually play well. I mean, I'm not no, I want to see it a second time. I don't care. I'll be the hater.
Yeah,
I'll be the contrarian here. I don't want to do this. It's Hopkins. I'm going to do what all the haters say. It's Hopkins. They're 4-2. They don't have any wins. Syracuse doesn't have any good wins. Joey only had 7 points. Joey should have had 15 points. Joey should have. I don't know what people Is there bad stuff? Of course. Where I'm not stupid. There's always bad
Here's
stuff,
the thing,
right?
No team can ever play a perfect game, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what people want.
You know what they want, honestly? They either want a 20-0. Honestly, in all seriousness, right? Because we see it against Maryland. And I hate to do this, but I'm gonna be the Matt person, and I want this clip because the AI clip picks this up from now on. I learned that, Matt. That's a trick. They only care if Jimmy lets in one goal. Jimmy can have a shutout. Jimmy can have miraculous saves, and nobody talks about it. They talk about the offense. Talk about the offense. Nobody talks about the defense. Not one person. And I'm going to cite Cam's notes in this sense. Everybody talks about the offense. Offensive team. You know what's been the thing in the wins that's actually helped? It's not Joey. It's Joey, but it's not Joey. Yep. Right? The man down unit does it again. Here we go again.
Yep.
And their 6-on-6 is good. Right? If we want to go by this, they let in 3 in the second and 3 in the fourth. Okay.
Yep.
Good teams are going to do that. I hate to tell people that. So all the idiot people that watch this that think they Syracuse should shut out everybody, I got news for you. It's not going to happen.
It's funny because I'm doing, this is getting a little bit off topic, but I'm doing small group training with my son's team right now because we don't have regular practices. And I have a kid who just started playing goalie over the summer for us.
Yeah.
And so he's been there, and at the end of practice, I had the boys take shots.
He's here, by the way, Matt. Not the person, but there's somebody in the YouTube comments that finally made an appearance.
Oh, Jim, yeah. But so this kid is relatively new to goalie, and I had all the players repping shots on him. Kid took 2 shots off the helmet, 1 off the hand, 2 off the leg, making great saves, but he still, lets them in. And I said to him after, I was like, Mark, I'm going to tell you something now.
Yeah.
Don't ever get discouraged if you let a goal in, because you're never going to stop every shot that's shot at you. It's never going to happen. And I referenced Jimmy because he's an SU fan. He goes up to the games. I said,
yeah.
Has Jimmy ever had a perfect game? No. And that's okay. That's normal for a goalie to let in a goal, a goal or two. Like, it's going to happen. Like, goalies never shut out teams. Like, so it's normal. But
you know what? Go ahead.
People, we've said it time and time again, but people can't expect perfection. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And Jimmy is one of those goalies. Shout out to Jimmy for following the show on Twitter, by the way. I think that's confirmed. He either follows my personal account on one of his burners or something. If it's not him, don't listen to this.
He follows me, so I'm cool.
Okay.
Just so.
Okay. You think that's him. It's his burner. He may not make, I'm going to try and say this the right way. Mike's going to clip this and say, yup, you hate Jimmy. He may not make every save, but when they need it most, time and time again this year, he is clutch.
Yep. Well, I sent you guys today. They Inside Lacrosse released like the top stat players in the country right now for certain stats. He's second in the country right now in save percentage.
Isn't that crazy though?
Sitting behind the Denver goalie, who's sitting at a wild 67% right now, but he's at what is he 60? Something 63, 64.
I don't. Is that the one that you texted today?
Yeah,
the Instagram thing.
Yeah,
or is that? I thought that was a video. Honestly, that's how much my brain is.
Yeah, oh, you sent the joke. Second in the country in save percentage,
which is crazy.
And we've said it for weeks now. This team defensively has been very sound. It's the offense that's struggled the past 3-4 weeks, and having to have that correct itself is much better than a team that can't play defense, right? So if the defense and Jimmy keeps doing what they're doing and the offense keeps getting better and better every week and start clicking more, then by the time May comes, we're going to be able to beat anybody if that continues in that trajectory.
You're supposed to say clip that when you want a viral clip to go nuts. No, but I mean, that's pretty much what I said last week, right? We play this game. One piece comes together. There's always one piece in this. Tim, I don't care. Your team lost. He's talking about Denver.
I saw.
But we always talk about it, right? It's always the piece. It's always the defense. Even in their losses, the defense didn't do terrible. That's the thing. It's not like they gave up 20 goals here. I hate to do this every time, but put some respect on Dwan's name. Put some respect on Figueres. And shout out to his dad, because I know he follows both the Instagram and Twitter. And
I mean, when your goalie has less than 10 goals against average, his goals against average is 8.43. His save percentage is 60.4.
Mm. And I think that's the crazy part. It doesn't look like it, right? You watch it and you're like, okay, he's 9-5 goals. And then you don't remember how many saves he has, right? Because it's easy to play the goal game. All right, Jimmy lets in 10. Jimmy lets in 8. Mike, I don't care.
You're not tracking how many saves he has. You see the amount of goals that go in, and you're like, oh, shit, he had 14 saves.
That's what's crazy, though. Sorry, I'm tweeting this out from the what I got doing 17 things on my phone. Go ahead. I'm gonna tweet out the YouTube thing onto the thing while you're doing
you're
that.
Good. Yep. So speaking of goalies too, shout out to Jelinas, the Hopkins goalie, because I thought he also played really well, and he made some pretty great saves that, like, if he didn't make those, that game could have gotten ugly, because he stopped a couple on the doorstep and some good shit, like some good outside shots that, you know, half the time those guys stick those. So, you know, shout out to him, because he kind of kept that game within reach for Hopkins, because if we're being honest, Hopkins' offense did not look very good. You know, that on Saturday they had, I was talking with my coworker today, they had 20 more shots than us, total, which is insane. But then we had 2 more shots on goal than them. That's how poor they were shooting on Saturday, which is wild. And like, also, if you look at some of the stats, like the first quarter, they played awful. They had 9 turnovers in the first quarter and failed 5 out of 8 clears. Like, so they just came out awful.
You know what? I'll be the contrarian here. They should have won by more. Okay, you have 9 turnovers.
I mean,
I don't want to do this, but I hate that's my negative, and it's always that. It's 9 turnovers, right? You look at the shots, like I don't care about the shots, right? The actual shots. I care about the shots on goal, because if you look at that, it's a big discrepancy.
Well, we had 12, so we went 50% on our shooting, which is, I mean, that's actually pretty good. 12 goals on 24 shots on goal.
I mean, to be fair to them, they had 22. Like, I'm not even gonna but that's the Jimmy percentage, right? So that's 14. So he's 8 for 22.
Yep.
That's not actually a terrible percentage. And I know the goalie people, which I got to talk to you about something about that after, actually, because I have an idea for something. Well,
I mean, they were just shooting terrible. They were missing everything.
Yeah. Well, but like the theory with that is shoot everything and hope that something goes in. Ideally, right? Like you hope that
well, some of it is on the defense too, right? Like the defense was giving them shots that were hard for them to shoot potentially too, right? Like, so that also speaks to the job that the defense did, where they were forcing uncomfortable shots or shots that, you know, were going to go wide or whatever else, because they weren't in a good spot on the field, because maybe the defense was forcing them to a certain spot on the field with low angles or any of that kind of stuff. So,
you know what's another big stat that I like? It's a lax nerd thing. It's a sports nerd thing. Look at the assists.
Yeah.
9 out of 12. I love that. I love that. Like, I'll sound like the biggest homer for that, but I love that. Because, like, that shows the ball movement. We always talk about it. The ball movement. Well,
look at that first Dwan goal, right?
Yeah.
Finn could have tried to bury that easily. And he's like, oh, I see Dwan wide open on the other side of the crease.
Yeah.
And how many attackmen are passing to a long pole on the other side of the crease?
I'll give you the answer.
Or not making that pass.
I'll give you the answer as right. You were a techman, right? Like we can make fun of you here for a second.
I would have tried to bury that shot.
Oh, 100%. That's what I was just gonna say. Like I wouldn't have passed it. Like I'm not gonna.
And I would have dropped it.
Yeah, exactly. I would have dropped it. You know, I would have put my stick back, Matt, to shoot, and magically I would have put my stick so far back the ball would have magically fallen out of the. Yeah. But like, I think that's the funny part. Like, you see Billy with the intent to shoot, right? Most deep holes that come down are picks, are decoys.
Yep. Even that little head fake he made, where the little dip of his head to shoot, then shoot high, like. Yeah, that's an attackman move. Like, you know, like I was like, okay, Billy, I love that.
Right? Like,
I was explaining that to Max. I was like, see how he dipped his head? That was to get the goalie to bite low.
Right. I'm trying this one more time. Maybe.
The Twitter thing.
Nope. Yeah, I keep trying it because it's annoying me. Go ahead.
Going back to defense, some things I noticed just in terms of like overall setup. One, Beck played down low again. Kaczynski was running on LSM.
Yep.
And then
interesting to note though with that.
What's that?
They keep moving them around, and I love it. They're getting.
It just shows flexibility, right?
Yep. I think there's a formula. Ideally, so the Chuck thing worked against Maryland, right? Like we can all agree that Chuck
That's what we needed because they had a third speedy attackman.
I think the formula probably is Beck, Figueres, and Dwan, though, if it all comes down to it. And you want Chuck up high, which we've talked about, right? Like, Chuck is an amazing D midi, long pole midi. I'll say it that way.
Yeah. He's good between the boxes and on the wings.
For my own personal thing, I think he's better up top. But that's more because of the face-off game and just the quickness.
Lights are tweaking.
I see that. I'm not gonna have like
in the Shaler house.
I know, right?
I don't know why that's happening.
Your power is gonna randomly go on. I'm gonna have to monologue with Todd. I'm gonna have to randomly monologue with Todd for like 20 minutes and say, "Oh, Matt's coming. Matt's coming. Nope, Matt's not coming."
I'm gonna flip those lights off. Hold on.
Okay. Yep. And here we go again. Matt makes me monologue. The other thing of note is the balanced scoring. And I know you can hear me, so is the balanced scoring. We play this game again. It's not just one person. Wyatt gets on the board. Finn gets on the board. Roa gets on the board. Here we go. Like,
and then you have nothing out of Leo. Which is fine. Like,
right.
It's interesting. And to me, that, some people might think, oh, it's a negative. Leo didn't put up any points, but he didn't need to, right? Like, we did fine. Like, and that once again shows our depth, our flexibility. Like, it can come from whoever is having the day, right? And like, I think if you ask every one of those players, they don't care if they have the goals or not. What matters is, do we win at the end of the game? Do we have one more goal than the other team? Cool. Mm-hmm. Well, then good. It was Finn's day, or it was Roa's day, or whoever's day it was. Cool. It was their day. One thing, we were talking about the defense. I thought that our short sticks did really well too.
Yep.
They held their own, and with that, McCarthy has almost exclusively moved to D mid.
I noticed that. I noticed that as well. That seems to be the play. I wonder though, and this is just me, right? This isn't me doing the analysis thing. I wonder if that's because of the health of Jake, and we still don't know what happened with Jake. If he's fully good to go, right? He plays obviously, but clearly there's something going on.
Yeah,
right. Well, whether it's a sickness, whether it's whatever you want to say it is, like, and I think I can echo this. I haven't heard anything. This isn't like me saying I haven't, like, I know. Trust me, I don't care anymore. I'll spill it all. I'll just tell you what I hear from everybody, because I'll burn those sources in 2 seconds. That's a side note for after.
But yeah, so then
go ahead.
With McCarthy moving to predominantly D, then you get Hoddle to move into that first line spot with Bear and Roa, and that, which, once again, I feel like a broken record here. Bear needs to assert his dominance.
Yeah. Okay.
He's
there's your negative.
Weird sophomore slump. It almost looks like he's afraid to make mistakes. Kind of thing. Like, and then he ends up making more mistakes because instead of shooting it, he's passing it, or he had one shot that was way too far out. That was like, bro, that's not your game. Like,
I think like a year of indoor would serve him well. Right, like playing with, because like we saw it with Joey this year, right? Already, the inside game has worked. The inside game has worked. The inside game has worked. He is backing down people more. Imagine Bear, and I look. I'm not saying he doesn't have it. This is just an observation from somebody that watched the Joey moves. Yeah. Imagine if Bear could do that with that size, with that strength. I mean, we could play the, like. He'd be Brendan O'Neill. I'll say it.
Yeah. So Hoddle moves up to the first line. So then you got McEntee and Bogue on the second line, and you saw some mix-in of Charlie Crafton got a couple runs, Ted Rawson got a couple runs, which I love to see that some more guys are getting some burn. Because
and not just I was gonna say, and not just in like at the end of the game. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, because I remember last year we played this game where it's like, okay, the third line's finally getting in. It was like 2 minutes left. They were winning by like 10. And then it's like, okay, this doesn't really help, right? They're playing them time to make their parents happy. I hate to say that. Parents are all great. I love all SU parents. Shout out to everybody that follows Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. But like,
but I love that the second line's potentially like 4 or 5 guys, right? Like, so you can mix.
That's
matchups. Yep.
Well, it's a game of if Bogue doesn't have a game, you pull Bogue, right? Like, if we're gonna play that game, you pull Bogue, and then it's all right. If Crafton has one, if Rawson gets one, because I think Rawson's role is probably man up. If we're being honest, like that's the role this year.
Yeah.
But like seeing him in the 6-on-6, but like seeing him on the 6-on-6, it's like okay, there might be something, a wrinkle down the road. That Gary, let's just say Gary plays John Tillman again. John Tillman hasn't seen Rawson on the 6-on-6 all year.
Yep.
Now you've installed it, and the Craftsons. We could play this game with all the names, but like, it's like the NFL teams do. They introduce that package, and then they don't use it again. So you don't have enough film on them. Now, that is the way outside the lens look for me. I'll just be honest. Like, that's probably not realistic, but that's just where my brain goes.
Yep.
So,
so it was, I mean, it was nice to see the more up-tempo style play. I thought I loved our, like, riding and causing turnovers in the first chunk of the game, too. Like, that kind of I felt like that kind of set the tone for the game, right? Like, because, I mean, within the first 5 minutes, we had busted like 4 of their clears and gotten 5 turnovers out of them.
Right.
Like, it was like, I was like, okay, all right, boys, I love the right out the gate, just getting right after it, you know. None of the slow start. I mean, we didn't necessarily put up the goals, but like we were starting with a very aggressive play, right? And that's what you like to see. So,
that's go ahead.
One other thing I was going to say, I guess my last note, because I hadn't been keeping track of this up until now. Joey had 7 points, so that puts him at.
I was going to ask you. I know where you're going.
At 278, so he's got 29 left to tie Mikey.
Okay, so here we go.
Which is crazy. He's already at 29 left.
Here we go. I'm going to ask you this on the spot because I'm going to put you on the spot for this.
When do I think he's going to break it?
Yeah, I have a prediction.
Duke.
I think. Yeah, I was going to say like, let me look at this because I want to make sure I have this right. Yes, I don't have that.
I mean, you hope it's a home game too, so it's a cool thing to happen in the dome.
So, I mean, Duke would be ideal.
Because what's after that is...
I've got one. I'll give it. How ironic would it be if on April 11th, on Desco Ring of Honor and Alumni Day, if that's the day that it happens?
Yeah.
Because, like, right, like, here's the thing. Joey could have 10 points the next game. We can play this game. Joey can have 8.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on the pace to do it by then, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because UVA 6 games away.
Yeah, like, I think he'll – so he's got to average 4 points to hit that
4 to 5 points, yeah.
4 to 5 points. Matt, if he comes in 1 point short, I don't wish this
into the UVA game, you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will, like, I'm going to promote it regardless, but we're going to make that place freaking loud on that game. If that comes in.
I'll go nuts, dude.
Yeah. And they should stop the game. I'll also say that's an aside note as a sports fan. If that happens, they should, but they won't.
They might.
Okay. Listen, you give too much credit to somebody. We're not going to do this. I can't be nice right now, but you know why. Is there anything else? I want to look at Cam's notes because I have to refer.
That was all my notes, so I'm good.
Okay.
On that.
I mean, you and I obviously like Unfortunately we're in sync with our notes, and I don't like this because like I have the same thoughts, like just the same.
That we don't have a lot
thought.
of things to go back and forth on. Yeah.
Right, like because it's like okay, like Joey, okay, Jimmy, okay, yep. So Kansas stat nerd. I have to preface this because I know nothing about what he's talking about with half the text that he sends about
like adjusted efficiency and stuff.
Yeah, I'm terrible with that. I gotta actually I want to get him to break it down. I think it's laxreference.com, I think is what it goes off of.
Yep.
So they're 9th in adjusted offensive efficiency, which is the lowest in the Splina area. But they're also 2nd in adjusted defensive efficiency.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is currently on pace to be the best mark in the last 10 years for the defense.
Yep.
Which awesome. Is crazy because, like I said, we can do this again. I said we talk offense.
Yeah.
They are the lowest efficiency since Joey's been on campus, and they're still 5-2. I don't want to sound that like like this isn't like, I mean, aside from the Harvard, right? Yep. That's the difference. I don't want to tell people this, but that's the difference. That's Princeton. Yep. Princeton. I want to be critical to people, but Princeton was going to happen. I hate to do that. Their goalie was on fire.
Yeah.
Harvard was
Product had the weekend of his life.
And Matt's going to say I'm wrong. That would be the one that I wouldn't change on. Harvard, I would obviously change on as Matt's typing away to somebody. Please don't join. Dan is ranting. I don't want you to join. Please don't join. I'm just kidding, Matt.
I'm touching base with Todd.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So do you want to do Denver before he joins, or while we're waiting?
I told him like 10-15 minutes. So let's get through the next couple games, and then we can
we'll do an awkward pause until Todd joins, and we'll make Todd take the word. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to reference Tim because Tim's a hater. It's something he posted earlier.
About their goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best goalie in the country right now.
Yeah, it's also amazing. They're playing against the best teams. On top of that, they're playing against the best goalies in the country, right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't Jacksonville. Shout out Jacksonville. They're great. They're building a program.
Yeah, they're not playing St. Bonaventures.
Listen, don't get those people in a I'm gonna get the messages. I'm gonna get the messages from those people. Okay, those people are gonna message me.
Everybody's excited that Duke's putting up like 21 points a game, but they're playing like my JV high school team.
Right. Like I have to send that to somebody. I have to send just that part to somebody. Somebody who you know. I haven't talked to him about that recently. I haven't talked to him about Syracuse recently.
So tomorrow, tomorrow's Air Force.
Yep.
They're sitting at 1-5.
Yep.
They beat Lafayette first game of the season, which is crazy to think that then Lafayette beat Army last week. But then they've rattled off 5 losses in a row. And their best game was they lost by 2 to Marist. Otherwise, like Denver only let in 2 against them. They lost to Ohio State 14-9, lost to Siena 21-9, and then lost to Duke 21-6. So,
right,
you could argue this might be the quote unquote easiest game of the season, but this is also like a typical trap game too. Like,
you can't look
ahead to Monday. You got to deliver tomorrow.
Well, and here we go again. I know it's a spring break trip, right? But it's the fact that it's back to back. It's not, you don't have a week.
Yep.
So I'm curious if we'll get a repeat, like the Princeton pen, right? Like where you get, I don't want to say lackadaisical, because that's a wrong way to say it, but like a team that looks off against Air Force but wins possibly.
Yep.
I'm not saying possibly, right? I hope that happens. Obviously, like people, there's people that take me seriously, and if you do that, you can call me while I'm at work. You know who you are. But like he didn't comment. I'm getting out of the way because he'll call me tomorrow and say you said this, you said that, and Matt's right all the time and you're wrong. But like I don't want to look ahead, but I do. Because I want to see them against Manning, and I want to see how they do against Manning.
Well, that Air Force game's like right. That's like one of those where, all right, that's the one where you want to see them drop 15-20, right?
Yep.
Like and only let in 5, right? Like you want that to be like a 20-5 game, or like the Duke result from last week where Duke beat them 21-6. That's what you want to see, right? Like
ideally.
Because that means your offense is performing at the level they're supposed to be against a team that's arguably probably the easiest on the schedule, right? So you want to have a game like a St. Joe's.
I'm messing with something for a second.
You're good.
He's still not here, but I'm just messing with this now.
You're good. So like because St. Joe's is a way better team than Air Force, right? But we beat them 20-2. You want to see a result like that out of this game. They've got one guy who's got 20 points so far in the season. Otherwise, they've got a couple guys that are in the 10-12 range. Their goalie has a 15 goal against average and only a 40% save percentage. So, like, seeing that, too, it's like, all right, let's pepper the crap out of this guy. Let's load it in the net. They've got in their faceoffs are like a little over 40% total. Their main guys sitting at about 45-46%. So like that's another spot where like, all right, let's see Johnny dominate. Let's see our offense put a ton in the net. Let's see our defense shut them down. Like you want to see a good complete game out of this,
right? To
set the tone for Monday, right? Like and that's, to me, it's one of those where like, all right, let's get up by a bunch and then let's start giving the bench some run, right? So then you rest your starters so they're ready for Monday. Get guys like Charlie Crafton and Chuck Ross in some good runs so they get some more experience. Get guys like Tucker Kellogg in there. Get Joe Filardi some more runs so he gets more game experience. Like, all that kind of stuff. And then we go into Denver on Monday. They're sitting at 4-1 right now. Do they have another game this week? I'm gonna check that.
Do they also line up with that?
So they play Ohio State tomorrow.
So we're gonna get a good idea of what what they can do.
Because honestly, like other than that, their one loss is to Cornell, and you could argue that's still really only. Michigan's halfway decent, but Michigan's kind of hit or miss sometimes.
Brian and I will debate you about something else after this, by the way.
But they beat Cleveland State 20-1, which, okay, good, you should. They beat Air Force 10-2, good, you should. They beat Utah by 1. Utah's this kind of sneaky good team. And then they lost to Cornell by 4, and then they beat Michigan by 6.
Matt, whenever you're ready, that's all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, he's not? Okay, yep. So, this is a prime game of like you want to control tempo. You got to shoot well because Manning's going to make saves. Their face-off guys are at about 50%, so you want to control the face-off battle. And they're kind of similar to us, and like they play a Canadian box style too. They got a bunch of guys from Canada who play that kind of style. So, you got to come to play, and hopefully, I know one of Jack's points was like, hopefully the altitude and some of those things don't affect our gameplay. I know last year when we went out to Utah?
2?
We didn't play the best at first, but then we kind of pulled away at the end.
Yeah.
I think it was last year. Because Bear was a freshman. So, yeah.
Right.
Last year. So, that's what we're looking at for this coming week. I don't have a ton of notes on either of those teams because I haven't watched any of their film or anything like that. But, you hope to go 2-0, finish this road trip 4-2.
Yeah,
this road stretch 4-2. That's your goal, right? And then go into Georgetown ready to go back at home.
Right.
So,
you want me to do it?
Yeah, let's bring them on.
All right. Let's see if this. There we go. Oh, it actually worked.
Hey, Todd.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
So, Todd, this is Dan, my co-host. Dan,
how you doing?
Hey, Dan. Good to meet you.
You too.
So, I asked Todd what his formal title was, and he's like, I don't know if we necessarily have titles, but he gave me Director of Trading Cards from over at TFL Sports. So, Thank you for coming on, Todd, and taking some time to chat with us.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. We know because we talk all the. What'd you say, Dan?
I'll steal your thunder for a minute.
Yeah.
Can you give everybody a brief introduction to TFL in your own words, Todd?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So TFL is a small company that was formed about 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. The person in charge is a gentleman named Steve Govett, who people know who are around the National Lacrosse League and elsewhere in the sport. And Steve wanted to do things that helped to promote lacrosse. Right. And he brought in a group of people that have different connections to the game. I am one that I probably have the least amount of direct tie to professional lacrosse of anybody. In the group, but I fortunately am able to bring along a suitcase full of trading card knowledge, and so that's kind of why they let me join the circus. And but what we're doing is we started out by producing the World Lacrosse Box Championship cards, and then we got a license with the NLL. Mm-hmm. And you've seen our first NLL set, and now we have followed that up with our stickers and sticker albums. And now we're just starting to plan for a sort of NLL update set. So another NLL set, and then the topic that we're probably here to discuss mostly today. We're doing some Syracuse cards as well. It just so happens that TFL wants to branch out into lacrosse in general, but also into other sports as well. Steve happens to be very good friends with Gary Gate. And so we were able to make that connection, or Steve was able to make that connection pretty quickly. Obviously, Syracuse is one of the most storied lacrosse programs in the country. Right. And it makes sense on a number of levels to be able to start a collegiate trading card program with Syracuse Lacrosse. So that's what we are in the midst of right now, or maybe not in the midst, maybe putting the finishing touches on, I should say. And it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. It's I can't wait for people to see these cards and see the reactions.
I was going to say, I know you can't say a lot, obviously, like in regards to that.
A few things behind the curtain still.
So
go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
Going back for a second, Todd. So you mentioned that you don't have a ton of like lacrosse professional connection, all that kind of stuff. I guess, how did you get introduced to lacrosse? Like, did you play it all growing up? Did you just become a fan as an adult? Like, how did you get connected to the sport?
Gotcha. Okay. So I grew up in San Diego, born and raised in San Diego, and I'm 53 years old. So, in the 80s and early 90s, when I was growing up, San Diego was not exactly a lacrosse hotbed.
Right.
Grew up playing, baseball, football, basketball, soccer, all that stuff. But lacrosse was, frankly, it wasn't even on my radar. I had no idea what it was. And my senior year in high school, my math teacher had played club ball for the University of UCSB, Santa Barbara.
Okay. And
so he pulls me aside one day, and he says, "Hey, I'm starting a lacrosse team at Grossmont High School, and I want you to play for me." And man, I'm a senior. It's my second semester. I never even heard of this sport. I'm not doing a damn thing.
Right.
and fortunately he twisted my arm enough, and I decided to play. And truthfully, I thank God for that man every day, because I absolutely fell in love with the game. Obviously I was never a phenomenal lacrosse player, starting at 18 years old and
right.
Playing in competition out here. But I played, that senior year of high school, and then I played 4 years of club lacrosse here when I went to the University of San Diego. So I've got 5 years of very poor lacrosse under my belt, and the great thing though is that I absolutely loved it. I mean, it's
right.
You guys, I don't think you have to be good to fall in love with this game, and I did fall in love with it, and have built lifelong friends and things like that. And then once my kids got to the age where they wanted to were starting to get involved in sports, we found a local rec team and signed them up to play. And unlike back where you guys are, San Diego 10 years ago or 12 years ago, if you were a parent that could throw and catch, you suddenly shot to the top of the collective group in terms of lacrosse knowledge. I mean,
right.
I was the expert in our area because I played crappy club ball 30 years ago. And but once again, absolutely fell in love with it. Got to work with kids.
Right.
I ended up being president of our local club for 9 years, and then I sat on the board of the San Diego Youth Lacrosse Association for 5 years. And I mean, I love the game. Absolutely love the game.
Right.
Started learning about box when the Seals came to town in 2019. Got season tickets right away, and started, as soon as I started meeting people within the organization, started kind of peppering them about the trading card idea.
Right.
I've been a card collector my entire life. My dad introduced me to cards at the age of 5, and I started collecting lacrosse maybe 12-ish years ago or so.
Right.
And and so it's one of those kind of squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of things. I mean, you mentioned cards enough to certain people, it eventually sinks in that that you're a card guy. And when Steve wanted to branch out and start doing some stuff, he and I were already talking about some other things, and he said, "Well, are you interested in getting involved in this?" And I said, "Absolutely." So that's where we are.
Is that how you met Steve, through the Seals and
yes,
that whole thing? Yep. Nice.
Awesome. I know Matt's got the list of questions, so go ahead, Matt.
I've got tons. I got a whole list. So you mentioned you started collecting cards lacrosse cards about 12 years ago. Did you start with any particular set, or just whatever you could get your hands on? Because I know even back then there wasn't a ton out there, right? Like, so it didn't really, it didn't really pop off until the past, I don't know, 5 years or so, when PLL started producing stuff. So
so it was interesting. Like I said, I've been a card guy my whole life, and I've worked in cards. I bought and sold, and I worked for PSA for a number of years, writing about cards and all of this kind of stuff. And I mean, for the longest time, cards and lacrosse kind of ran parallel in my life. I loved cards, I loved lacrosse, but they didn't connect. And there was one day, and I don't even remember what the inspiration was, but I just kind of randomly was sitting around wasting some time on eBay. And I was like, you know what? I wonder what lacrosse cards have been produced over the years.
Right.
And so I started some random searches, and found a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff. It was mostly vintage stuff, tobacco stuff, and I was thought it was kind of interesting, and I started looking for different hobby resources where I could get some information about what had been produced over the years, and could not find anything. There was absolutely nothing out there. And so I just started kind of reaching out and posting on a few message boards here and there, hey, does anybody collect lacrosse? Hey, does anybody know about lacrosse cards? And I got a little bit of feedback. I was at somewhat of a disadvantage because, like I said, growing up out here in San Diego, we didn't follow the MLL. We didn't follow the NLL. We didn't, I didn't know. I mean, basically the existence or the whole basis of my lacrosse knowledge and that of most of my buddies when we were playing in the days pre-internet was the Gate brothers. I mean, we heard about the Gates, these great guys out at Syracuse, back in Syracuse, we heard about the Air Gate and, saw the poster or something like that with, Gary jumping and things, but there was no media coverage of the sport out here. So it made it really tough to even try and gather much lacrosse card information because I didn't really even know who the better players were for the most part.
Right.
So it was very much just a bare bones, start from scratch, learn as you go kind of thing, try and make connections. Fortunately, I got connected early on with a couple of guys, David Smith and Jim Coughlin. And they had been, they were the guys that were more from the East Coast and had more lacrosse knowledge than I did. And they were collecting cards. And so they kind of started to guide me a little bit and show me what was out there. And then just being the kind of person that I am, I love research. I was a history guy in school and I'm a card guy, obviously. So I started digging in and learning whatever I could and, building checklists and all of that kind of thing. And then eventually got to the point where I started posting a little bit on Twitter here and there about lacrosse cards. And on occasion, somebody would, comment back or follow me or what have you. And, I think that's how Matt and I originally got connected was through Twitter. And we've been able to build a nice little community of lacrosse collectors, people that are all interested in different kinds of things, different elements of the game and different elements of the hobby. And everybody's been really good about supporting each other and helping each other out with trades or pointing out things that are for sale that somebody might like or whatever. And it's been really neat. It's kind of like collecting was many years ago in the bigger sports. Now it's so much about kind of hype and money and hits and all of this kind of stuff that a lot of the kind of grassroots fun about collecting, the community, the building sets, the helping each other out, trading instead of just buying and selling. A lot of that goes by the wayside these days, but lacrosse has really kind of embraced that stuff and it's made it a lot of fun.
For sure. You mentioned Jim, and what was the other gentleman's name you said?
David Smith.
Yeah. So was it those two and you that made the website?
So Jim and I, and I am far from a web designer. So what happened was, Jim and I were talking and we were frustrated about the lack of information that was out there. And I've got to give Jim, credit for a lot because he was collecting a lot of the really kind of esoteric lacrosse team issued sets over the years and had a lot of information on those. And so we started I really started with vintage stuff, like, tobacco era, let's say pre-1950 type stuff. And he was more into the modern stuff or players and teams that he had been able to watch play himself. And so, we came at this from kind of two opposite angles and decided to pool our knowledge. And, like I said, this wasn't a situation where we were, trying to build a price guide or a book or something like that, that we were going to sell. It was just a matter of, hey, we really like this. We know there are a lot of people that like lacrosse and like cards, and they probably don't even know that lacrosse cards exist. So let's try and share our information and just basically make a hobby resource.
I was going to say, I always joke with Matt, I love sports cards. I can collect every sport, but for the longest time, I was the same way, and I grew up here. Like you never heard about it.
Sure.
Until
I can't tell you. I walk into card shops to this day and ask if they have lacrosse cards, and people tell me that they've never been made. Yeah. I'm like, well, okay, do I want to start this discussion? Like, how much time do I have? Or do I just want to go, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm going to take it off.
I mean, they're tough around here, Matt. I think you could probably speak to it better than me, but like, I go
to shows and trade nights and stuff, and I ask people like, do you have any lacrosse cards? And they look at me like I have three heads. Like the same thing. They don't even. And you would think, like, of all places, people here would know, right? Like, but they don't. And so going back to the website thing, just so people know, the website we're referencing is called laxcardarchive.com, which is an amazing resource. So shout out to you guys for putting that together. Like, that's how I was able to form what I was collecting. Like, I combed through that whole website. I looked through the whole thing and found every Cuse player, what sets they were in, and made a whole list. So whether you want a certain player, a certain team, like anything you could think of trying to look it up, go to laxcardarchive.com. It's an amazing resource. So thank you to you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's, it's the kind of thing where we still occasionally find, learn about sets that we didn't know about previously. So, and when we do, there might be some esoteric set that was issued in 1994 in Saskatchewan or something like that.
Right.
That, they only printed 500 of them or something like that, and most of them got thrown away at the arena. But, if we can find examples and we can find at least, information that is reliable enough that we're comfortable sharing it, we don't want to put out absolute lies or speculations or things like that. We want to, try and give as accurate a description of something as possible. But we find new stuff and put it up and try and grow this thing as we can. It's been tougher in recent years because of the proliferation of PLL cards and now TFL cards and like I said, I'm not a web designer by any stretch, so it's it's a lot of hunting and pecking and typing and screwing up a page when I make a new one and things like that.
Right.
But we eventually get it up there and just like I said, try and make this an opportunity, a free resource for people to use and learn from and build their collections with.
So, you mentioned that you guys have produced a couple sets now, whether it was the World Box cards or the NLL cards. Can you give us a brief synopsis of like what goes into the process of like making a card set? Obviously, you could probably talk for hours on that, but like even just like a little snippet of maybe a little bit of the process of what that takes, how to get the licensing, how do you actually produce the cards, whatever you can share with us.
It's a funny thing. Like I told you guys, I've been involved in cards my entire life. I've been a collector. I've been a buyer. I've been a seller. I've been a researcher. I've been a writer. I've been a marketer. But the TFL is my first entry into the production side.
Okay.
And when I was working with PSA, everybody's got their opinions on how things should be done and stuff like that. I used to make the analogy that, I've been buying groceries for whatever it is, 35 years, and I can buy groceries to fill a recipe. I know where the cold section is. I know what I'm going to find in the cold section versus the bakery versus the, I know what canned goods are and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
35 years of that experience does not make me qualified to run a grocery store.
Right.
And it was the same thing with PSA, and it's now the same thing with producing cards. Just because, I've been in the hobby my entire life does not mean there wasn't a steep learning curve when we did this. So one of the things that we're learning is there are a lot of different ways to get licenses. There are a lot of different ways to cut deals. There are a lot of different ways to design or to print or things like that. And ultimately it boils down to, for us, a combination of what is the best possible product that we can produce, in terms of aesthetics and quality and all of that. And then how do we produce that in a way that, one, it's affordable to the customer, and two, that we can make a few bucks for our time as well. Because the other thing that we have to balance with lacrosse is, because the market is growing and is not at the level of a baseball, a football, a basketball.
Right.
First of all, we don't have the collector base that they do in those other sports. And secondly, cards that come out of lacrosse packs, while they may be desirable and some may sell for a couple of $1,000s or something like that, if you get a really nice one of one or something like that. You're not going to have an immediate $50,000 card out of a pack or something along those lines. So, this market needs to be grown and educated and nurtured and all along the way. It doesn't have the track record that these other sports do. So, to give you a definitive answer to how do you produce cards or how do you get the license or things like that, it's really not possible yet, because in our sport, there's not yet that kind of track record. We don't have 25 years of producing cards and to say that this is the exact process.
Go ahead, Matt. I was going to say, on the PSA side, so you wrote for PSA, does that help at all with the production / licensing?
I wouldn't say so much with the licensing. I would say that with understanding the hobby, absolutely. With with production, in terms of knowing, it gives me an idea of what people are going to want, what is going to make a lacrosse card attractive to a collector. Because obviously, we've got this core of people that are lacrosse fans, and they are going to have a natural interest in lacrosse cards simply because they love the sport. But the other thing that we want to do, the market that we want to grow into, is the collector market that does not know about lacrosse. We want to introduce them to these cards and thus to the sport. And so we've got to be able to make these cards attractive to the people that have 10, 15, 20 years in the hobby and have expectations of what a card set should be. So PSA experience helps me in that regard. Absolutely.
Real quick, since we're talking about the specific sets you guys have produced, I just want to show a couple of my favorite cards, because
let's see them.
I pulled some out of my binder. So
I bet I can guess who's on them.
Yeah, right.
Or at least what school they're from.
Yeah, right. So I do have to say, right out the bat, you guys crushed it with the World box sets. They just look so clean. You guys did such a good job. So of course, right off the bat, I gotta throw out a Joey card.
Sure.
It's sponsored by Joey.
That was a lot of fun. We were very fortunate in doing the World box cards that we had. I mean, not only were there, our first sets were covering the very best players in the world, men and women. It was a really fortunate situation. You didn't have any duds in those cards at all. But to be able to have somebody as young, as up and coming, somebody who hasn't even made a professional debut yet, like a Joey Spallina, that added a whole new element of excitement to these cards. That was, I thought, a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's another one.
Yeah. With Trey Deer, another one, very similar along the same kind of line, same kind of explanation that I gave about Spallina, but young, up and coming guy that we expect all kinds of great things out of. So,
and I I particularly enjoyed the sets because for a while there hadn't been a lot of Syracuse guys in the PLL, right? So like there was between the Haudenosaunee team and the US team, I think there was like 8 different guys that I had the chance to collect. So it was exciting for me as a Syracuse fan to see like a bigger uptick in SU guys, because I think for the longest time there had been maybe 1 or 2 SU guys in the sets. Show one more. Joel White, the 101 auto.
Yeah. Yep. Very nice way to cap off a career. Hey.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
I actually, I don't know if I told you, Todd, but I played against him in high school when he was just a short stick and wasn't playing LSA. So he destroyed us pretty good. So
we have Matt, we have the CNY connection, as you know, because I also played against him, and I played against most of the Syracuse guys that went on to Syracuse.
Okay. Excellent.
I can say, it's not. It's not excellent. Trust me, because it
was brutal.
Yeah.
I don't have that much experience, but I can say that I played in an adult league game when I was much younger against Spencer Wright, and
nice.
Made me look pretty silly. I mean, when you consider that my lacrosse experience consisted of 1 year at Grossmont High School and 4 years at the University of San Diego, and I was trying to D up against a kid like Spencer Wright. You can probably imagine how that turned out. But
I would say it's probably the same experience as me defending Joe Von Miller before he was at Syracuse, or Joel White, or any of those guys, to name a few. Go ahead, Matt.
So you guys did the World Box set, and then this fall you guys came out with the NLL set, which some of the designs on these are just so cool, the colors and all that. So I pulled out a couple. I particularly love the to 25s. I forget, are they called Haze? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Haze. Yeah.
Just like the colors on them, just especially this one in Jameson, the colors pop with the jerseys really nice. So I thought that one looked cool. And then just how exciting it was to have guys like Paul and Gary and Casey to have cards in the set too was like, as an SU fan, it was just so cool. So I pulled this one out in particular because of the packs that I bought. We pulled this in a pack. So I thought that was cool to show off this ball to 10. So, and for them to have autographs, right? Because like guys like that, as you know, Todd, they had cards in the early to late 90s, but they have never had an official autograph card. So like, so cool that you guys were able to do that kind of stuff is just awesome. And then actually, I haven't even shown these on the podcast yet, but I got a couple stickers in the mail because I ordered some stickers. So I got Gate Brothers sticker.
Okay.
And then got to go from oldest to youngest here. A little Hilty sticker.
There you go.
So, and I think that even that, like the stickers is such a cool idea to get like maybe the fan that doesn't have as much money to drop into, $120 box, or like kids. Like this is such a great idea for kids that are fans of the sport in general. Like, oh, let me collect all the stickers. Like I remember as a kid having the sticker booklets for like the Ninja Turtles movie, trying to get all the stickers to line up and where they go. And like, so that was kind of a cool, like nostalgic thing. So I wanted to show those.
Dan, getting back to your question about PSA, first of all, the sticker thing was, Steve was the one that really pushed that, and it was a great push on his part. But the neat thing about PSA is that I worked a fair amount with the PSA set registry when I was there, and got an understanding of how people collect. And when I was growing up, or probably when we were growing up, collections were basically, you collected the let's say the 1985 Topps baseball set, and you got cards number 1 through 792, and that was it. And it was great. You did it. These days, collectors are a lot more specific about what they want to acquire. There is so much material out there that we really have a lot more choice. And so lacrosse hasn't quite yet hit that threshold in terms of quantity of material out there.
Right.
But if you look through the PSA set registry, one of the big things that people are doing now is building player collections, and so instead of focusing on, like I said, the 1985 Topps baseball set, for example, They want one of every Joey Spallina card, or one of every Owen Hiltz card, or one of every Paul Rabel card, or whomever it is. And and people are, because a lot of the older collectors that collected in the, the pre-1990s will just say, there were typically 1 or 2 card sets a year that came out, and you had a limited amount of stuff that you could collect. They're starting to dig back into the sticker sets that came out and collecting stickers as cards. So one of the neat things that we're starting to see with our sticker program is just that, is that people are collecting, Matt, you've got your handful of guys that you want that I assume you're not going to be putting into an album or a sticker album. You're going to be putting them into your card album and collecting them as cards. And it's just those are the kinds of things that we want to do to help grow things, to help educate people on how to do different things, to give them different options, because the card world, to a complete outsider, the card world can be pretty daunting. I mean, you hear all of these news reports about these huge sales and stuff that is far outside of the budget of 99% of collectors, but that's the stuff that makes the news. And there's a zillion different sets that you can potentially collect, and 1,000 different players. And I mean, where do you even get started? And that's where we're in kind of a neat situation with TFL, because even though the first lacrosse card was produced in 1878, there hasn't been this major groundswell of lacrosse collectors over the past 150 years. So to some degree, we're starting out with a relatively small pool, and we're able to help kind of guide people, the ones that are already in there and the ones that want to come in and learn more. We can help them learn that.
Right. So getting to the Syracuse set, I know that there's not
you're going to do that eventually.
Yep. I know there's not a whole lot details wise you can share with us. So I know you mentioned that Steve had a connection with Gary. So that's kind of how that came to be, is that he reached out to Gary and said, hey, we maybe want to get in the collegiate space. Would you guys be interested? That's how that happened.
Right. Yeah, essentially. And like I said, I mean, even if Steve and Gary were not didn't have a connection, I mean, if you were going to pick a college team to make a card set of, you'd be hard pressed to find a better one than Syracuse. I mean, they've got a great current team. They've got phenomenal history. They've got championships. They've got star players. They've got it's a home. Well, I don't want to say home run. That's the wrong term, but it's an air gate. It's an air gate type of school in terms of lacrosse caliber.
So, are there any details you can share with us?
I can. Okay. So we're looking at roughly a 60 card set, probably a little bit over.
Okay.
There is going to be a combination of current players, coaching staff, and some legends. This is going to be a boxed set, so it's not going to be a situation where there are parallels or autos or things like that. It's we wanted to start this off. I don't want to say basic, that would be the wrong term, but we did not want the first venture into this kind of thing to be something that was a shock, came as a sticker shock. And obviously if you get into autos and you get into specialty, foil printing and all of that kind of stuff, the price goes up, pretty quickly. We wanted to offer a high quality, well thought out set that people are going to love to have, and be able to do it at an affordable rate.
So hypothetically, if this does well, I'll ask it this way: do you think that we're in the right way of more college teams possibly?
I would think. I don't know why they wouldn't. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a great way to market a team. This is a great way to connect. You know, I mean, everybody is looking in this day of you know, the media being what it is and proliferation of everything. Everybody's looking, you know, that everybody that has a thing, a team, a product, a whatever, everybody's looking for a way to be special, to make a direct connection to the people that they consider their followers. And you know, you could argue that trading cards have never been more popular than they are right now. I mean,
right.
We're seeing $1 million plus cards being auctioned regularly at this point, you know, multiples per month. You know, the hobby is absolutely thriving. And so look, trading cards makes sense in terms of being an avenue to connect with fans. And I would assume that if this Syracuse set does well, and I see no reason why it wouldn't, that other schools would have the similar interest.
Okay.
And, you know, I think a box set is a perfect introduction to this space, like you mentioned. And lacrosse is a sport, too, where you have more close access to the players, too, where, like, if you don't come out with autos, it's not a big deal because then fans or kids can go down and get autographs after the game from those players on the cards. Right? Like, so it's not like basketball or football where you're not going to see those players after a game. Like, I can speak from my experience. Like, there's 100 kids after every game they're lining up, and every player will stop. Well, most of the players, all the popular players, will stop and sign for every kid that wants an autograph. Right? Like, you know, the amount of things my son has signed by Joey, there's probably 30 things in his bedroom that are signed by Joey because, you know, they stop and they're excited to sign things for the kids. So, like, by not having those in there, I don't think is a big deal at all because you have that access to those players, right? Like, so,
I think that's great. And that's one thing that makes the cards all the more interactive, you know, all the more desirable because it can be a conduit between the players and the kids, you know. That's one of the things that I mean, I love sports. Like I said, I grew up with sports. But I do have a frustration with some of the modern major leagues, baseball, football, basketball, because there is such a gap between the athlete and the fan these days. I mean, we kind of deify these people or put them on pedestals, and there's really a separation there that is not there in lacrosse, even at the professional level, you know. And my most sincere hope is that lacrosse grows to the point where these guys can be year-round lacrosse players if they want. That can be their main sole source of income, but that it never gets to the point where that separation starts to happen. You know, one of the greatest things is, you know, the ability of Matt's son to be able to meet a Joey Spallina, who's, you know, arguably the biggest name in the college game these days, and you know, like you said, he's got 30 signed things in his room. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I was going to say, I know it's your competitor, so I'm not going to like praise them in this sense, but the PLL is great at that because they are very interactive on every single one of their weekends. Their players are everywhere signing stuff. I agree with you. I hope we don't get to that point. I'll just say it that way. I hope we don't get to that point where you can't access a Syracuse player after a game because they've got security or something stupid. I don't want to say stupid because there's hecklers everywhere, but like, where Matt's son can't go there and get the autograph because now he's got to pay to get the autograph or whatever. Like,
absolutely. Well, you know, and I think a lot of it boils down to, and I want to say two things. First of all, I do want to correct you. I don't see the PLL as a competitor. I think that we, you know, I mean, there's so many different versions of this sport. There's sixes, there's box, there's field, there's you know, men's and women's, and like, and you know, we're all kind of in this collectively. I mean, we all maybe have different angles or different things like that, but you know, I want the PLL and the PLL collectibles trading card program to succeed because you know, it's one of those things that's kind of a rising tide lifts all ships. And then the other thing, what was I going to say? It was, oh my gosh, got me going on one tangent and I forgot the other. I'm sure
Matt's great at that. I was going to say, Matt's great at that for me. He'll get me talking about something random, and then I'll completely forget everything that's in my brain that I want to ask him. So.
Well, you mentioned the PLL, Dan. I was going to make the point, too, that, like, in the access of players, that's kind of one of my favorite memories so far, lacrosse memories with my son, is we went, I think 2 years ago now, we went to the Albany weekend, and I had never been to a PLL game. I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this yet. We went, and it was when the 2023 set had come out, that like small set they put out. And we bought a couple packs, and he got probably, 15 cards signed by players. And one of my favorite pictures I took of that weekend was Tom Schreiber, the year before his MVP, looking down at him with the biggest smile on his face, signing a card for him and asking him questions. And like, you can tell the smile on Tom's face is like a genuine, like happy to be talking to him.
That's great.
And so, that, I 100% agree with you, Todd, in that I hope the sport grows enough that these guys can just play lacrosse and whatever, but I hope it doesn't lose this like closeness, this like not too cool kind of attitude. Like, because you can tell they're genuinely happy to, at least most of the players are genuinely happy to interact with the fans and particularly the kids. And I hope we never lose sight of that.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess one question I'm curious about, and I don't know if this came into play at all with you guys working on the set with SU, is did NIL affect any of this process at all? And because I know that NIL isn't really as big in the lacrosse world, but like it does play a part. Did that affect any of what you all were doing?
So it certainly did, and that was handled more on a Steve and Gary level. And I'm fortunate in that I'm allowed to kind of get in and be nuts and bolts on cards and be creative and work with our designers and those kinds of things. And I'm allowed to I have the freedom to not pay attention to a lot of the nitty gritty business stuff. But yeah, I mean, NIL is always a situation and whether you've got a great connection like the Stephen Gary thing or not, everything has to be done properly and above board. Because you don't want to run the risk of tarnishing anybody's image one way or another, whether it's your company or whether it's an athlete or whether it's a school or anything like that. So certainly the relationships help and they make things maybe a little bit easier than they would be otherwise. But at the same time, yes, all of the same kinds of things do come into play.
Nice. So I guess my last question for you, you've hinted at it a little bit with other college sets, but I guess, what do you envision for the future of TFL and the lacrosse card world? Like, what do you see, potentially happening in the next few years with you all and what you're potentially working on?
Well, continue along the lines of what we are, and that is putting out what I consider to be a meeting of, the best possible quality and the best possible cards as frequently as we can without over saturating the market. One of the things that we need to be very conscious of is that this is not lacrosse is not Major League Baseball or the NBA in terms of millions of fans internationally. We have to work not only to produce great product, but also help educate fans and collectors and help them to understand. So our goal, moving forward is twofold. It's continue to make great product, balance that by, the number of sets or issues that we have each year. But also do enough, and we've been a little bit lax in this regard so far, but have a lot of plans to ramp up. do a lot in terms of outreach and connecting and helping to educate. I've written a number of articles, for different publications online about lacrosse cards, but I want to start doing a lot more of that kind of stuff for our own website, so that people can go and whether it's a situation where we post a video of me sitting down and explaining a set, or explaining how to collect, or giving people just different ideas. I mean, some of the stuff that happens in the other sports that isn't really happening yet with lacrosse is, for example, there are Hall of Fame rookie card collectors in baseball or football or basketball, and they want a rookie card of every Hall of Famer. Not really happening right now in lacrosse. Part of the problem, I think, is that there are multiple different halls of fame. There's the US, there's Canada, there's the NLL, there's the Pro Lacrosse Hall of Fame, which is basically the PLL. So I think to some degree, people don't really know what Hall of Fame to follow, or what's the most legit Hall of Fame, or things like that. But there are things that we can help teach people, ways that we can open people's eyes to building different collections. I think one of the greatest things about collecting now is that because there is so much product out there in the world to choose from, we as collectors can really customize exactly what we want to collect. We don't have to settle for just the standard whatever the set is that's issued each year. We can be player collectors, or team collectors, or college collectors, or I know some guys that only collect goalies, or whatever, but once again, getting back to the idea of how big the hobby is, I don't think a lot of people necessarily recognize that that's a thing. They maybe need to be prompted a little bit and shown what some of these possibilities are. And so education is super important for us as well.
I was going to say, I'm the most novice collector out of the three of us, I would say. And it took me forever. So I love Matt hates all sports. I love all sports card collecting. It's just like, but like, I'm still educating myself on those sets that are like the different boxes, right? The different whatever set that came out 2000. It's the baseball. Like you said, it's I'm seeing a lot of the Hall of Fame collectors, and I see exactly what you mean now. Because even thinking about it now as you're talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I see that on eBay, right? The people looking for everything. But it's crazy how that's exploded, like over time. And I hope even your stuff, I hope all the lacrosse stuff gets to the same point where we can, even if it's unifying the Hall of Fame, right? And we say this is the one Hall of Fame for this. It'll never happen because Matt knows they don't listen to anything I have to say. But like, I hope there's a universal thing where people can say, okay, he's an NLL Hall of Famer, but he's in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I think that makes it more collectible in my mind.
Yeah, that's that standardization, or just reliability for people to be able to understand things. I mean, the other thing is and Matt is gonna either laugh at me or punch me through the screen when I say this, but defining a rookie card for
I knew exactly where you're going with that.
And shut up, Brad. Because the standard definition of a rookie card is basically the one that's been used for years and years is basically a base card, a nationally distributed card at the highest level of competition. So basically you're talking about a Major League Baseball card, their first card. So with lacrosse, I mean, let me give you an example. So Joey Spallina has yet to play a pro game, but by the time that our Syracuse set comes out, he will have two cards, a world box card and a collegiate card. You could say that the college card is not a rookie card because it's not a professional card. It's not the highest level of competition.
Right.
I get that. But what about the world box card? So is it world competition a higher level than professional?
Right.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Or are we waiting for do we have to wait for Joey Spallina's first NLL or PLL cards?
Yep.
And then, once Joey, who is obviously going to be drafted in both leagues, is it a race to see which league puts out a card first of Joey Spallina? And then that is his lacrosse rookie card, or does he have a box lacrosse rookie card and a field lacrosse rookie card?
Yep.
These and having all of this opportunity, all of these options for people to play the game at different levels and different styles and things like that is fantastic, because it brings a lot more people into the game. But in something as, in something like collecting, it muddies the waters a fair amount. And we need to kind of eventually figure out a way to standardize some of these answers.
It was the same issue with CJ, right? Like, because he's in your
exactly the same issue.
Like, is it that one or his Water Dogs cards, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I mean, Trey Deer is another one in the same exact situation as Joey. He's got World Box cards. He's going to have Syracuse cards. And he will eventually have, I assume, NLL and PLL cards. What do you consider, what do you consider the rookie? What is the standard issue? And then, when you go back a little ways, you've got stuff like, we debate this back and forth ad nauseum. I think I've heard this discussion 1,000 different times, but, and we still haven't come to a conclusion, but Paul Rabel, I mean, what is the Paul Rabel rookie card? I mean, if you go by the strictest definition, a card produced of Paul at the highest level, nationally distributed card, base card, it would be probably his 2010 Upper Deck World of Sports card, or his 2010 Upper Deck MLL card. But you know what? He's got team issued cards that were produced in 2007 and 8. With the Cannons. He's got the Sports Illustrated for Kids cards that were produced in 2007, but they're wearing his collegiate uniform. Once again, the waters are not very clear on a lot of these things. And some guys, they have a card like that Paul Rabel card, which shows him in a college uniform. And then they went on to have wonderful professional careers. But because lacrosse cards were not produced regularly, they never had a professional lacrosse card.
Yep.
So does that mean that, this guy doesn't have a rookie card, or we make an exception for this guy, or we make an exception for the whole sport? And I mean, we're not gonna come to any definitive answers on that tonight. It's just got to kind of play itself out and see where things eventually end up. But those are some of the things that would make stuff difficult or challenging for people that want to enter into the hobby but just don't know yet.
Yep.
I think that's the thing that makes it a good argument, though, right? Because I can say I have a Joey rookie card. You can say you have a Joey rookie card. We could play this game because it's not big enough. I don't want to. People are going to say I'm criticizing it in a sense, but it's small enough of a niche where everybody can have a rookie card of their own liking. If you like the world stuff, it's a rookie. When the collegiate stuff comes out, go ahead, Matt.
That's the argument we get in our group chat about the Rabel cards, right? Like, there's some people that have the Sports Illustrated ones that they think that's the rookie card. Awesome. And then we have other people who think it's the other thing and have the otother thing. Awesome. It's funny because we, like Todd said, we've, even in the time I've been in the group, we've talked about it probably 30 times. So it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And then
it's not like we bring up anything new anytime we talk about it. It's all the same stuff that we rehash over and over, and we still don't come to a conclusion.
It just spinning our wheels.
But, I mean, at the same time, that's part of the fun of community. One of the other things that we want to do, I say it regularly, cards are great. Cards and community are better. I mean, I could collect cards and have a neat collection and just keep them to myself and not talk to anybody about it. And, it would be cool. Right. It would be a neat collection of cards, but it wouldn't be nearly as fun as if I had 5 or 10 buddies that collected as well, and we can trade and we can share and we can show each other stuff. And that's the other thing that we want to do is have people recognize that, this is an enjoyable process. It's not just about, buying and selling and flipping cards and making a profit and stuff like that. It's called a hobby for a reason, and we cannot lose sight of the fun that this is. And just like Matt said, with taking his son down to the sideline after Syracuse games and seeing little kids lined up with their cards, getting Joey or Trey or all these other guys to sign cards. Like, that's, the money is great. It's fantastic, but we can't forget about the roots either,
Yeah, I was going to say, I joke with Matt all the time about how he's a fake SU fan. Matt, you'll get where I'm going with this, because I've been going since the gate days, right? I've been and even back then there were posters before the cards evolved. And Matt, you'll understand this. Todd, you made the tailgates, right? So the players come down to the tailgates. And SU, I'm sure, still does the same thing. All the players congregate. Same thing, though. If you can't catch them on the field, now they're coming down to get food. So now you see the guys, and then you can really pick their brains. Then you can really it's trust me, Matt, I know you understand where I'm going with this, because they all come down, they'll eat, like they'll come down, they'll congregate. When the ACC trophy happened, they all came down with that. Like, you talk about a community, that's where the example is, right? Like everybody's there. And
that's why it's whether it's to start with SU, right? Like, because there is such a close, like a huge fan base, a fan base that is well connected to the team. Like, so I'm excited that you're doing this, but like, I think it, like you said, it makes perfect sense to start here because there's not a bigger and more intense fan base than the Syracuse lacrosse fan base.
Don't do that, Matt. Don't do that, Matt. I know, but I'm going to get the messages, Matt.
Out of the water in terms of attendance.
They're going to come after me. That's what they do. They come after me. Whatever Matt says, they like to come after me. That's what I've learned. Matt can say whatever. They don't care. I say it, and Matt knows. Matt, we joke about it, but like, there's, Matt, the people that I'm talking about. So
but so, anyways, to kind of put a bow on all this, I wanted to make sure we properly plugged you guys, Todd.
Thank you.
So shop.tflsport.com is where you can find their products. You mentioned sticker shock, and I know that was a critique of the NLL set. And one thing I'll say about that, and this will be my little soapbox for the day, is to make the products more affordable. I guess you can put that in quotes because that changes person to person. Is we have to continue supporting these things, right? The more these things sell, the more they sell out, the easier it is for folks like Todd to make these things cheaper for people. So the NLL set has sold out, which is awesome. Like, I'm so pumped for you guys that happened. Buy the sticker books and the sticker packs right now, because that's what's available, right? Like, when the SU set comes out, SU fans, get out there and buy those boxes, right? Because that's how these things become more affordable. As the hobby gets bigger, they can produce more, which then makes the cost per box, per pack more affordable. So get out there and support Todd, support the PLL when they put out their stuff too, because that's how this, keeps going. So thank you for, hopping on, Todd. Thank you for all the experts in the community. I can speak for myself, and it's been a pleasure to get to know you. It's exciting to actually talk to you in person, not behind a keyboard for once. One of these days we will connect in person.
That sounds great. I would love to come back. I've been to one Syracuse game, and it was a blast. So I would love to come back for another one at some point.
Hey, if you're coming back, you let me know. We'll get you we'll roll out the red carpet for you, Todd.
Matt has this Splina connection. Matt has a connection to a player that he reaches out to that we joke. Matt, you know the joke, obviously. Like I tell Matt he's sponsored by Joey. So everything that he does is sponsored by Joey.
Well, you know what? If you're able to say that, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Hats off to Matt. I don't know what he did, but good job.
Just bugging a college kid enough, and now he'll talk.
I was just gonna say,
I'm using my kid.
Oh gosh.
But well, thank you, Todd. We'll let you go. We appreciate your time and chatting with us, and I can't wait to get these cards in hand and show them off to folks and talk about them and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Todd.
Sounds good. Well, thank you. They will ultimately be for sale. 2 spots for sure. One at the games, and then on the TFL website we will have some as well.
Okay.
I don't know if Syracuse is going to put them in the bookstore or not, but they will be available at games, and that's where the majority of the people, I imagine, who follow this show will be able to grab them.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you, Todd.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
You got it. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
And there. Oh.
There we go.
There we go. I may or may not have done it myself.
That's fine.
I think we're pretty good.
Yeah, I want to do one more thing real quick. So I mentioned last week, my buddy Brad sent me cards. So if anybody, particularly folks who are tied to any youth programs in the area that want packs for their players, please reach out to either the podcast socials or me in particular. I've been working like in all my free time making packs. I mean, I'm keeping one of the local card shops in business because I'm buying all these like team bags to put like the packs in. So, I mean, I probably bought 1,000 team bags so far. I've given them out to West Jenny. I'm giving them out to the Syracuse City School District, to CNS, to Liverpool, to Beeville. Like, so if you're a part of one of those programs and want some packs, please reach out to me. I will make them and get them in your hands. I want to make sure that these cards get to kids, because that's how this hobby and this community grows even more. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me because I want to get those out to folks. So
you want to know something funny?
Even like Tim, for example, I know Tim isn't local, but if he has a connection to a program down on Long Island, I will be happy to make the packs and ship them to you. Just pay the shipping. I'll get them to you. And, or if there's someone, we mentioned Dave that lives out of state now. If he has any connection, like anybody who listens to this, who has a connection to a youth program, you reach out to me. If you want, I'll make them for you and we'll get them to you.
Something kind of comical, and we'll joke about this after, but I gotta say this now. The Twitter kicked on in the middle of the Todd stuff, so like it went live, and I was looking at him like, "Here we go," and I had to put out a tweet in the middle of it, like we'll put out the full, because I don't know how much actually showed up.
Yeah,
so I'm scared in a way because somebody's gonna go in and go, "Oh, I guess it just started, and I guess they didn't record half the stuff."
Yeah.
I tweeted out the video when it's live. One of us will do it, I'm sure. I do want to promote the Instagram though and everything. What's the social name, Matt? This is a quiz for you. What's the social
for ours or TFL?
Both. Two things.
Oh God, I think TFL is TFL Trading Cards, maybe.
Yeah, you're welcome. Fake fan. I did that on
real
purpose.
Quick.
I know you are. So ours is.
Yeah,
ours
TFL Trading Cards is theirs. Okay. And then ours is SUX
everywhere. So Instagram, like I said before, if you guys can go over and just hit subscribe on the YouTube, the Twitter people, because I can see all of you random people that are watching. If you can go over, all you got to do is hit subscribe. That's all I want. Literally, that's it. Go over, hit subscribe, because we're going to post most of the clips on the spot on the YouTube. And also on the Instagram, those are going to be. I'm going to try and get back to doing that. It's a lot easier now with the software that I use because they updated everything.
Yep.
Now I don't have to pull clips, and whenever Matt says something crazy, I can get a timestamp for it right away.
You can clip it.
Oh, now that's going to get clipped. That literally is going to get clipped. What do you think? 2-0? I'll end it with this. Is it 2-0 or is it 1-1 again? Are we playing the 1-1 game?
I mean, I think they can do it.
I'll say to be the contrarian. No, I'm not going to say 0-2.
Oh my God.
I think
that would be concerning if we lose both games.
Yeah. I think 1-1. I think people can figure out who the one loss is, and people can figure out who the one win is. Yeah. And it's only because Have to give Denver short turnaround. Plus, Denver plays that type of game that Maryland plays, and if they freaking get ahead, it's going to be terrible to try and catch up. And so
Johnny will play a big part in that game.
And Drew, let's give Drew. You know what? We didn't say it before, Matt. Drew 2 for 3.
Yep.
He has one more face-off in the past game than Johnny Rachusa won in his whole SU career. Fun fact. You're welcome.
Such a hater.
Sorry, I had to. I don't actually know that. I legit don't actually know.
I have
a
soft spot for Johnny because he came from Canisius beforehand. So, and that's where I went from.
Yeah, we're not going to do that right now. I can't get canceled for saying something. On that note, this is a late one, so this is
this is a long one too.
We gotta talk about some stuff. We gotta talk about some stuff behind the scenes, but I don't want to do it on here. Well, we know.
Go Orange.
Go Orange. Maybe.